All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight for our unit leader orientation. We're going to get started now and keep an eye on the inbox there if anybody else comes in. Want to welcome you to our presentation for week 5. My name is Brian Murray. I'm the camp director at RSR. We're joined also by Quinn Cicolella, our program director. We'll happy to share some information with you all this evening and answer any questions that you may have. I've muted everyone just for the background noise, but feel free if you have a question, you want to unmute to ask a question or throw it in the chat. And we'll be happy to take your questions as we come, and we'll certainly get to questions at the end as well. We're really excited. It's been a great season so far. We've got the Cub Scouts with us this week, which is a bit of a change of pace and very exciting as we've got them. Really big crowd here today. And so thank you all for joining us tonight. We look forward to having the Scouts in with us next week. Did want to start off with a traffic advisory for folks that are joining us from the north, people that normally travel through Brunswick to get to camp. There is a works project, a road project where they're rebuilding a culvert down on Route 351 coming from Brunswick to Postenkill that will require you to do a bit of a detour. So if you're coming from that direction, you should be advised to use Route 355, Garfield Road, or State Route 2 as a way of coming to camp. If you're coming from the south, if you're coming from Albany, this is not likely going to affect you. This is just folks that are coming down from northern Rensselaer County or parts of the city where you might be coming through Troy, Brunswick to get to Rotary. We'll start with our talk about Sunday and our Sunday check-in procedures. Our check-in time, of course, remains 1 o'clock. That's when we will begin bringing the troops and our provisional scouts, because we will have more provisional scouts this week for STEM week, into camp. So troops can start gathering at 12:30. We ask that you not gather up there before that because we just don't want everybody waiting in the parking lot for a while. We're still finishing up some business. We have our staff lunch and staff meeting just before that. So we'll get up there to you by 1 o'clock, but we don't want folks lingering in the hot sun for too long. So 12:30 is a good place to start gathering. So we know you want to make sure you've got all the troop assembled. What we ask is that at when the staff guides will go up to the parking lot to greet the troop at 1 o'clock, and we ask the scoutmaster to at that time go down to the office to meet with me and bring a roster with you, please, that is current and reflects the scouts that are actually in camp. We compare that to the scouts that we're expecting, and this is where we check up on any last minute changes in roster and attendance. So you can bring that down to me in the office. Because this is, well, I'll get to that in 1 second. Let me finish this piece here. At that time, the guides will take the rest of the troop down to the campsite. And so scoutmasters should make sure that the medical forms go with the scouts and other leaders that are taking the scouts down to the campsite. Don't bring the medical forms down to the office with you for check-in because they may be able to get to the medical officer to begin med checks while you're still finishing up some work with me. And so we don't want to delay that med check process at all. So send the medical forms down with the scouts to the campsite. You will be given a vehicle pass by the troop guide as they are departing the campsite, departing the parking lot. That would be for one vehicle at a time to go down and bring troop gear down to the campsite. We do ask that be limited to one vehicle at a time per unit using the vehicle pass so that we can minimize the traffic that's on the roads during this time where there's so many people walking about and people just getting their bearings and everything. And we'll talk a little bit more about vehicle usage later on. But that vehicle permit is due back to the office once move-in has been completed. That's not a permanent vehicle pass for the week. If you have somebody in the unit that has a handicap accessibility issue that requires vehicle access, then please see me when you check in, and we can accommodate that. But the vehicle pass that's given to you on Sunday is for load in only. Please make sure you're welcome to bring trailers in, leave them at the sites. We just ask you to make sure that they're clear of the roads so that vehicle traffic can get past them, and that you're not pulling the trailers into the campsites, but kind of keep it in that transition space between the road and the campsite itself. I hesitate to use the term driveway because a lot of them it's not long enough to be considered a driveway, but that transition space between the two. Now, this Sunday, we have a little bit something a little bit different because we have a large number of provisionals that will be joining us for our STEM Week program. The provisional scouts will check in at the Cub Scout Pavilion, which is directly across from the office. Sorry, from the parking lot. So, whereas the troop leaders will head down to the office to meet with me and check in for that. Any provisional scouts that are attending on their own, they're going to go to the pavilion across from the parking lot, and it is there that they will check in and receive their campsite assignments and be taken to the campsites that they're assigned to. A few things from a health and safety standpoint. All adults attending camp, part of the overnight or even full day supervisory responsibilities, do need to have current youth protection and be cleared through the New York State background check prior to arrival. Now, if your unit was registered with if your adults rather were registered within Black Pug, then we've pulled that information and we've sent that in for the background check. But if you have any additional leaders that are or parents that may come in that may choose to spend a night at camp or as part of rotational leadership or anything like that, please make sure that you've entered their names and their date of birth in the Google form that is linked to in our leaders guide and on the front page of our camp website, because we need to collect that information and make sure that those individuals are submitted for the background check. This is free. It costs you nothing. It costs us nothing. But we do need to run everybody through that. It's a good opportunity, even if you've got folks that are not planning to attend camp, but you think they might at the last minute, put them in, or just an opportunity for you to background check other parents and leaders that are involved with your troop. It happens for free, and we'll let you know if anything pops. So it could be a useful opportunity for you there. The youth protection requirement, some of you may be familiar with the fact that that has been modified, right? That changed a couple months back when National announced that they have retired the youth protection training course and have now instituted the safeguarding youth training. Safeguarding youth training is the only course that's available now for anybody that is newly joining the organization or who has to renew an expired certification. For purposes of summer camp this year, either one of them is acceptable, either youth protection or safeguarding youth. That will not be the case next summer because all current youth protection certificates will expire at the end of May of next year, regardless of when they're, no later than the end of May of next year, regardless of how long their certification extends. And from that point forward, only the safeguarding youth will be accepted. But for now, for this summer, either of those is good as long as the card dates are still valid. All adults also need to be registered to your unit with Scouting America, right? That is a registration requirement. So as a frontline leader, like an assistant scoutmaster, member of the committee, anything like that, for that. For identification of our individuals, for the leaders that are coming into camp, we have these sort of silicone wristbands similar to the ones that I'm wearing here that will be issued to each of our adult leaders that are staying in camp. Any guests that are visiting for a short period of time will receive one of those sort of like carnival fair Tyvek wristbands. That includes the guests that are coming in on Wednesday night for the family night program. We do have a camper release form that we use for any scouts who need to leave camp at any point between check-in and the closing on Saturday morning. If a scout needs to leave early or if they have to leave camp to come back for an appointment of some sort, we ask them to complete the camper release form. This form is available on the resources tab page of our website. We also have copies here as well. You may be familiar with it as the orange form that needs to be filled out and signed by the parent as well as by one of the leaders that's remaining in camp. And that's so we know that you know that that scout has left. And so we do ask that one of the adults in camp signs that document or we will not release that scout to their appointment. Leaders, you can pre-sign that if you know that a scout is being picked up for a baseball game on Tuesday evening. You can pre-sign the form and leave it in the office so that the parent can fill out the rest of it and they can take the scout for that appointment. Continuing with the health and safety items, we want to make sure we stress the buddy system for all of our scouts and for our adult leaders as well. It's always a good way to get about camp and make sure that everybody stays safe. We have the sign in, sign out system throughout camp. In your campsites, you will have a buddy board that has the little discs that look like the buddy tags from the waterfront. You use that to sign out of your campsite. And then throughout the rest of the day, The scouts have the little binders in the program areas where they sign into an area, they sign out of the area to indicate their travels throughout the day. From an emergency procedure standpoint, we'll talk about this with the scouts in the dining hall on Monday morning, but uh, when we blow the regular siren, that is for lost campers or lost bathers or anything like that, we're asking everybody to assemble at what we call the Tuscadaga Field. This is the field that is directly in front of Tuscarora campsite. Line up there and to have everybody in the troop remain standing until everybody in the troop is present. That includes the adult leaders, and then they can all sit down, and that tells us within that troop that everybody in that troop is now assembled, and we can look across the field really quickly and see who's still waiting on folks. We also did make one change to our test of that system this year, is that previously we used to test that siren 3 times a day. This year, we're only doing it once for a brief, essentially 1 second or so test at 7 o'clock in the morning. But if you hear that siren go off for a minute or longer at any time during the day, that means we need everybody to assemble at the Tuscadaga Field. Our second siren is called the Yelp, and it is a severe weather alert siren. And that one sounds a lot more like an ambulance or a police car type siren. And if you hear that, we need folks to assemble at either the dining hall or Seneca Lodge down at the waterfront. That's our severe weather siren, and we want to make sure that people are getting to a secure shelter. We will take attendance at both locations and make sure that everybody is accounted for. We will talk to the unit leaders and make sure that we've got a count of everybody from your troop. The third one we talk about is the active shooter scenario or intruder in camp scenario. We do not have access to a third siren, so what we use for that is, should that alert become necessary, we would broadcast that out via staff radios as well as the Remind alert system, which we'll talk about in a little bit here. And the message essentially, since we do not have hardened facilities that are secure in that type of scenario, the advice is simply to run into the woods. Should that alert go out, we ask scouts to run out into the woods and hide as far away from traffic as possible, and that once the coast is clear, law enforcement would bring them back into the fold, if you will. When you check in, we will give each leader a strip of marking tape, surveyor's tape, and ask you to tie that around the outrigger of your tent or around the bunk if you're in a lean-to, so that we know who the leader in charge is for that site, should we need to alert you in the middle of the night of some problem. If we get a phone call from home, a scout needs to be picked up, there's been an emergency, we want to be able to go directly to you to help us find that scout rather than standing in the middle of the site screaming the scout's name. Same thing if we get bad weather coming in during the night after bedtime. You're not going to hear the siren if it's raining. And so we will send staff members and vehicles out to each campsite to alert you, going directly to the leader tent and asking everybody to proceed to the shelters should that become necessary during the overnight hours. Continuing with our health and safety theme, I've put up a picture of our health officer, Josh Clark, so you can all get to know him and recognize him. You've seen him if you've been around the last number of years. Some recommendations or some requirements, actually, regarding health and safety. First of all medications that are brought to camp must be in their original containers. Okay, so that includes over-the-counter medications. We cannot accept the Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday kind of pill canisters. The medications must be in their original containers. And for prescription medications, they must have the name of the patient on the bottle. Sometimes we are presented with situations where the name on the bottle does not match the name of the scout, and we're told, well, that's mom, but we both take the same medication and we just sort of share between the two of us. It's the same stuff. We can't accept that. It's got to be from a bottle that matches the prescription and matches the name of the scout taking it. And all medications do need to be turned in to Josh or to the medical officers on Sunday during check-in. We do have 3 AEDs located throughout camp. The automatic defibrillators, should those ever become necessary, you'll know that there's one in the conference room of the main office, one that is at the ice house down at the waterfront, and also one that travels with Josh throughout the day as he travels around camp. OTC is over the counter, so any over the counter medications do need to be in their original container. And a good question was raised about EpiPens. EpiPens and similar medications that are required for immediate administration due to like allergies, scouts may hold on to that so that they can have rapid deployment of that. Everything else needs to be turned into to the medical officers on Sunday. So our three locations for the AEDs, as I mentioned, are aquatics, the health officer's vehicle, as well as the camp office. All right. Something that we're also stressing this year, it's always been a policy, but we're just encouraging units to be more aware of this. Sometimes units may administer first aid in the campsite. That's perfectly fine if it's within your scope of knowledge and practice. If you're, giving a scout a Band-Aid for a minor laceration or something like that, totally not a problem. We do need to have a record of that, though, so that we make sure that should anything ever arise as a result of that injury, we have documentation that occurred. So we ask you to provide that information to Josh. There's a couple ways you can do that. You can let him know at a meal when you see him. We've also distributed QR codes around in the campsites that also match the QR code that's on the back of the staff ID badges. And that'll take you to a Google form where you can just enter the information in there. John Smith cut his finger, whittling in the campsite, minor laceration, Band-Aid applied by such and such person at such and such time and date. And that way we can record it in our health and safety log. You do not need to, if you do not require additional assistance, if it's a minor injury or something like that, you do not need to go to the health lodge at 1 o'clock in the morning to alert Josh that this has taken place. You can let him know at breakfast the next morning or put it into the digital record there. All right. I talked about vehicles early. We ask that you limit vehicle usage within camp. As many of you know, if you've been here before, large sections of our roads are one way and not passable by two vehicles at the same time. So we try to limit the traffic to minimize the situations where folks are having to go around each other, crossing into fields, things of that sort. The 10-mile-per-hour speed limit, please recognize, starts at the ranger's house at the main gate. So as soon as you transfer from pavement to dirt road, that is where the 10-mile-per-hour speed limit begins and continues throughout the entirety of the camp. We ask that you respect that for the safety of everyone in the camp and keep the vehicles out of campsites and off of grassy areas. Please no riders in the backs of trucks or trailers, and keep everybody safe. Okay, from a communication standpoint, we use the Remind Alert system. So this is one where there's an app that you can download to be able to receive communication alerts, or you can text the code on the screen at 5RSR-BSA25 to the number 81010, and that will sign you up for our notifications next week. We will just use it for basic notifications about what's going on that week, honor camper notifications, or excuse me, honor troop notifications, things like that. And if you already have the app downloaded to your phone from previous years or from other purposes, you can just go to add a class and enter the code on your screen, 5RSR-BSA25. And that'll take care of getting you onto our alert system. We also have a camp newspaper that is produced by our camp ranger, assistant camp ranger, I should say, and camp historian, Ed Keelan. He also publishes this on Facebook. The camp newspaper, if you go to Ed's Facebook page, which is Ed Keelan, which I'll throw in the chat box down there, it'll say in parentheses something like History of Rotary Scout Reservation. Ed uses his personal Facebook page as the page for camp, for the Thunderbird Club, actually, not the official page for camp, but as the page of the Thunderbird Club and a history of camp. And he has a link on there to a Google Drive where people can see the daily newspapers if folks from home want to follow along with what's going on. For email communications, my email address is campdirector@rsrbsa.org. Quinn's follows the same kind of format with program director at rsrbsa.org. And then we also have food, which we'll talk about in a moment, to reach our cook. And medical is to reach Josh, our health officer, at medical@rsrbsa.org. So let's talk a little bit about food services. We serve a buffet style service. Our cook, Sean Dibble, is back with us again now, and does a great job for us, takes great care of us. And we want to give him all the information he needs to take good care of you and all of your scouts. And so please note the QR code on the screen here. This is also available in the leader's guide that is posted on the website. This is the link to the food and food allergies and dietary restrictions form. Folks can go in there and go ahead and just enter the information so that Sean has access to that. If need be, he will reach out to communicate to find out additional details and information about those needs. Couple things about additional things about our food services. We have Wednesday lunch is served in the campsites. We will deliver the food out to you, and you can do cheese quesadillas for our Wednesday lunches. Patrol cooking during the rest of the week is optional, so it's something that you can do if you would like to. And there's a form that is available as part of the leader's guide when you check in that details what options are available and when you can sign up for those items to be delivered to your campsite. We also collect the trash each night and ask that you please put the trash out by the entrance to your campsite by before you head down for dinner. That way, when everybody heads off to evening program and we're coming around after dinner to pick up the trash is out there waiting for us to do that. Even if it's just a little bit, taking the trash out each night is what helps keep the population of raccoons and other animals down. Wednesday night is our family night barbecue program. We will start serving at 6 o'clock. And tickets are available by going through the calendar at trcscouting.org. You'll see the event barbecue on next Wednesday's date, and you go in there and you can purchase your tickets right online. The cost is age $18 for age 11 and up, $15 for age 10 and up, 10 and under, excuse me. And so they can purchase tickets in advance, or tickets may be purchased at the door. Please remember, all guests do need to sign in at the camp office when they come into camp, even on barbecue night. So that's where you pick up your tickets. But even if an individual is not participating in the barbecue, they're just coming in to see their scout and enjoy the campfire, they still need to check in at the office on their way into camp. And campfire will follow about 8:15. Troop photos will be taken on Monday night. And those photos will be printed up and available to you if you would like to purchase photos. They are $10 each. Those are totally optional. And they get printed with a big fancy border and some information about the troop on it and stuff like that. When we take the photos, there's just two pieces of information, actually three pieces of information that we're going to ask you to confirm for the pictures themselves. The first one is, how many pictures would you like if you want to purchase any photos? You don't have to have the money for me at that time. You can settle up later on, but we do need to have a number so that we can place the order. They get printed up in Arizona and shipped back to us by the end of the week. Second piece of information, we're going to confirm the hometown of the troop, make sure we have the right town. And the third piece of information is, would you like the chartered organization's name printed on the picture? Totally optional. Some units do, some don't. So if you'd like the local school, church, Kiwanis Club that sponsors your troop to have some recognition on there, we just need to know what that is, and you can just make that decision beforehand. We do have our camp liaisons that head out to the campsite during the day to check out on things, make sure everything is going well. That daily campsite visit is looking for things like campsite improvement projects, as well as just general health and safety and cleanliness of the campsites. Those things will be scored, and the top score for each day is awarded the recognition of honor troop and has the ability to lower the flags at retreat that evening and put up the flags the next morning along with their troop flag as well. This is also very useful and important for communication. Any issues that you may be having in the campsite or at camp, you want to communicate back to camp administration, you can let our camp liaison know as they come through the sites. And one piece of recommended advice that we have to share from them is, when cleaning the campsite latrines, please make sure that each day you have wood shavings that are in a bin on the latrine deck there. One very small handful, small little bit of wood shavings down each seat hole each day helps with the composting process and helps to keep the smell to a minimum. The other thing that does that, keeping the lids of the seats closed. That's what helps keep the smell from disseminating out further. Finally, on this, the quartermaster is available and has resources for you when you might want to be do cooking projects or service projects or things like that. The quartermaster is in the same building and operated by the same staff as the trading post. So anytime the trading post is open, the quartermaster is open as well. We do ask that if you need something from the quartermaster, you just don't go in right when the trading post opens, because that's usually when there's a big slushy run right after a meal. Give 20 or 30 minutes for that to clear, and then Janet will be happy to help you with anything that you might need from the quartermaster. If you need basic staples like toilet paper, paper towels, garbage bags, those are also available at the camp office and the kitchen as well. All right, at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Quinn, and he's going to talk about some of the fun stuff, our program resources.
Hi everyone. Really excited for everyone to start a fantastic. So the first thing kind of want to go over is the program resources. So while merit badge pamphlets are starting to kind of fade into digital, we still have our merit badge books, and we do have a library, and these books are located in the program areas. Additionally, the merit badge verification forms that can be used for leaders to confirm completion of merit badge prereqs we also have. And then the mid week progress reports are available through afternoon. One thing to note that through Blackbug is just one more way to access the midweek progress reports. So program, we have a lot of cool things going on. So our campfires are Sunday and Wednesday night. The Sunday one is provided by our staff, and on Wednesday it's provided primarily by our troops. We do have a few staff ones in between, but it's put on by the troops themselves. That is on Wednesday night. And then our campfire game is Tuesday. The concept of the game is a bunch of really cool and exciting activities that are on Tuesday during that evening program slot. The theme is approximately around racing towards success. So a lot of the different activities and games will be involved in times. Additionally, open program, we have shooting, swimming, crafts, tomahawks, bouldering, no bouldering, scout skill games. And then we have trail to first class takeout, which you can check in with our TTFC director, Dan. One thing that I've been asked is what does, Brian, forgive me, what's the thing they always ask for, the schedule one, but it's not on the schedule.
IOLS?
I just lost the word for it.
No.
No, it's like when the merit badge isn't scheduled and you
Oh, by
check in with
appointment.
the picture.
Yeah, by
By
appointment.
appointment, thank you. So by appointment, essentially what that means is you check in with that director for that merit badge, and they will work with you. You can initiate that just by talking to a director to get by appointment. I've known from previous weeks, people have been confused how to start by appointment. It is by having a conversation with a director, and then they create a plan for you during that week.
Yeah, if you look at our merit badge schedule document that has like the TV guide looking grid on top, and on the bottom there's a list of merit badges by recommended first year, second year, third year scouts. All the merit, there's several merit badges that are listed on there that are in italics, and that means that we do offer it, but we don't have it in our daily schedule because there's just usually not enough demand for it. So those are the merit badges that Quinn is talking about. That if a scout wanted to do, say, insect study, they could speak to the nature director and say, when would be a good time for me to come in and show you the stuff I've worked on for insect study. Typically, that's going to be during the afternoon program, open program time, the 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock, but that arrangement will be made between the scout and the area director.
Yep, absolutely. And thank you, Brian. Biggest thing, just check in with the director and they will create that journey for you. Additionally, we have Leave No Trace Awareness Awards, different games. We also have a new remote control car track right behind the office. It's been very popular. The RC cars last like 45 minutes per battery. So it's been a pretty successful plan, and everybody's been having a great time with it. Definitely creates a little bit of dust, but nothing we can't sweep out of the office. And then we have disc golf. So disc golf is a new program or item that we've been able to put in a lot of fun. Our handicraft director has been taking lead on that, working with TTFD, who holds a lot of the discs, and they're providing that. Brian, correct me if I'm wrong, Tuesday and Thursday?
Uh, Golf merit badge is Monday and Thursday.
Monday and Thursday. Thank you. And then we have Polar Bear Tuesday and Thursday. And we also have the Paul Bunyan Award, which will be listed on the open programs when you can work on different parts of that award between TTFC and Scoutcraft.
When we have a question in the chat, can you just speak to what Trail to First Class takeout is?
Sure. So the Trail to First Class takeout is essentially there's pieces of the Trail to First Class um, program that you need to get filled out, but you're not necessarily doing the Trail to First Class entire program. You just see a chunk. You can work with Dan to get those requirements completed and kind of do a takeout model of the Trail to First Class. Instead of getting the whole pizza, you get a slice of the pizza.
I like that analogy. It's making me hungry.
Okay, so the next piece, so you may have heard about this in previous years, is Super Troop. So I did change it up a bit and I lifted it up at a new level. So Super Troop is that your unit is already doing and be able for you to track as a unit what you are doing and be able to get an award out of that. It promotes patrol and troop participation, and only a single troop can win this award in the entire week. And it's built in a sense of your troop attends an event. One half your participants arrive. One patrol does this. A scout hits a bullseye in archery. Everyone goes to polar bear. Someone does polar bear 2 times. Things of that nature, where it's just by participating in Rotary Scout Reservation allows you to be able to then get a check. So there's a giant list, and it explains where it is, how it, what you do, and then a staff signature spot. You go to, let's say, aquatics. Your entire troop does polar bear. You have the aquatics director, aquatics staff sign it, and then you get a points that are attached to that. And then whoever has the most points by the end of the week would get Super Troop. And what's really neat about that is it's not always based off of size of the troop. It's based off of the activities you guys are doing in terms of being involved, and then checking in with the staff and getting those signatures. Last week, we had our smallest troop get it by being really involved in different parts of the program. And Brian, they were pretty tiny, right? Oh wait, you were not available. It
Yeah,
was
it
one
was
scout and
one scout, very, very tiny, very small
yeah,
troop.
the troop was, and he was able to get it while we had another troop work on it, and they were a group of 30, and then a or 20, and then a previous week it was like a medium-sized troop. It's about just checking in, getting that list, and doing the different program. Nothing is impossible, mind you. That list, that scout didn't do all of them. It's built so that's impossible to do everything on the list. So it gives a lot of opportunities and chances. So I'm really into Super Troop. Additionally, we have adult programs and trainings. We have aquatic supervision or supervisor. So the swimming and water rescue with the paddlecraft safety, just and then the merit badge completion day, which is on August 10th.
And we also will have IOLS next week as well. IOLS, the Introduction to Outdoor Leadership Skills, will be offered by the training committee on Tuesday and Thursday. That basically runs from 9 o'clock in the morning. First day, they usually go till 3 or 4 in the afternoon. Could be a little later depending upon the size of the group. And then they meet again on Thursday, 9 o'clock until whenever they finish. And participants do get to leave to go down to the dining hall to enjoy lunch with their troop. And then they come back up and finish the program in the afternoon. Obviously, y'all are, this is our slide for previous weeks to advertise STEM Week. You're all coming to STEM Week, so you know all about it. But these are the additional merit badges and NOVA awards that we're offering this coming week. chess, electricity, nuclear science, healthcare professions, and the two Nova Awards, Mendel's Minions and Start Your Engines. I did want to speak. There are some brief prerequisites that a couple of the counselors have let us know about, so I'll share those with you now. For electricity merit badge, scouts have been asked to complete requirement number 2, which is a home safety inspection, and requirement number 8A, which is to compare meter usage to a bill. So those are two things that would be better and easier done at home. So for electricity, merit badge 2 and 8A. For Mendel's Minions, there is an essay writing component to number 4. It's a 800-word essay that the scouts should try to get that done before camp if they can. Those are the only two prerequisites that we have been provided with by the instructors for those badges. So again, for electricity 2 and 8A, and for Nova Mendel's Minions, number 4. For merit badge record keeping, we record all of our merit badge records in the system called Blackbug, which is the system that you're all used in order to sign up for camp. And those remain accessible to you. If you take a look at the graphic on the screen there, if you're the registration contact for your troop, you'll recognize that. That's the page where you have your roster of scouts on there. And at the top, you see the 3 tabs, one of which says reports. And by scrolling down on that tab, go to that tab and scroll down, you will see unit advancement detail as a form that will show you all the records of all the things that the scouts have completed while in camp that week. We will then also, and those will remain accessible to you as long as you have access to your Blackbug account. So forever, or, reasonably speaking. So we will also export merit badge records to Scoutbook at the end of the week. Now, there is one caveat to that, which is that Scoutbook does not accept an import of non-merit badge records or rank advancement records. So all merit badges, all rank advancement stuff from TTFC will be exported, but we are not able to export things like that are awards like mile swim or snorkeling. That's just a Scoutbook policy. It's not an us thing. But we will take care of that for you. And as Quinn mentioned earlier, progress reports will be available on Wednesday in the camp office, and then you'll be able to see the records as they are implemented in the system throughout the week. Wanted to finish our official part of the presentation here with just a little word about adult supervision. This is a very important part of the scouting program, and we see you as an opportunity to help be a force multiplier, both for helping to deliver program, but also for providing supervision during the camp program. We ask you, please, if you've got groups of scouts that are headed to a particular common area, where we've moved the Gaga ball pit up to the area in front of the training post across from the chessboard. So we have the chessboard, the Gaga ball pit, the basketball, pickleball court, all very close to one another. It's creating a great common area for scouts to gather. Excuse me. It's a great common area for scouts to gather, but of course, that also means sometimes scouts make non-unscout-like behavior decisions when that happens. So we asked you to help provide supervision for those spaces if you've got scouts headed up there. Same thing with the shower house, especially at night, to provide supervision when scouts are traveling to the shower house, so we can make sure that people are not doing inappropriate things around those spaces. Just give me 1 second. I apologize, folks. I'm getting over a head cold here. The one other place is that there are opportunities to provide support within program areas. We've had adults that have volunteered to paddle a canoe or kayak out there to help provide supervision for the inflatable slide, so that we can open up more sessions for the inflatable slide. We need more people. The slide is something that requires 360-degree observation by guards and supervisors to put it in operation, which means that if we only had our lifeguards do that, we often would not be able to open up the rest of the waterfront because they'd all be committed to the slide. So if we have adults that can go sit in a kayak and work on your tan while keeping an eye on the slide as it's in use, that saves a couple of lifeguards that can continue to keep the waterfront open while that's going on. That's one example of ways that you could help out. If you have special knowledge or skills in a particular area that you want to share with the unit leaders, we had a unit leader recently that works for, I think it's DEC or environmental agency. They were able to go and work with the environmental science scouts and tell them a little bit about what they do for a living. That's great. Those are great opportunities for folks to chip in and provide a little bit of support. You don't have to do that. If your idea of a great week at Scout Camp is a hammock and a book, by all means enjoy. But we do ask for some support when scouts are traveling in large groups to those common areas. The one that we wanted to highlight, however, is the outpost. We did make a change to the outpost camp out this year. The outpost this year will be only for wilderness survival merit badge. We are not sending the camping merit badge scouts out on outpost just because of some of the logistics and staffing challenges with doing that overnight activity for that many scouts. So the scouts that were taking camping merit badge, the overnight was never part of the requirements anyway. There were a few things that they did while during the overnight that they will now be able to do during their merit badge sessions. The only thing that they aren't going to be replicating is the 4 mile hike that the scouts took to get out to the outpost if they're doing camping merit badge. But if many of the scouts already had something like that completed in troop activities, if yours hasn't, we've got great hiking trails. If you want to take your scouts out on a hike to meet that requirement, you can certainly do that. For wilderness survival, however, we will run the wilderness survival outpost. However, to do that, we do need some support from some adult leaders. Depending upon the number of scouts that are signed up, we would need one or two adult leaders to volunteer to go out on the outpost with them. If we have any girls that are signed up, and I haven't looked ahead to see what we have next week, but if there's any girls that are signed up for wilderness survival, we would need an adult female to go with them on the outpost to be able to do the outpost as an outpost hike. The So if you are interested in that, you can let me know, let Quinn know. We'd be happy to set that up. The outpost is not that far away from base camp. It has a latrine, it has running water. We can provide camping materials for you if you need it. If you don't have your own tent and stuff, we can provide that for you. We just need the adult bodies to be able to go out there on the trek with them to stay overnight. And we've had great adult coverage all summer long from folks volunteering to do that. So if that's something that you're interested in, please let one of us know. Um, that's right. If the scouts are doing the camping merit badge, they do not need to bring the frame backpack or tent because they will not be doing an outpost. Um, so, yep. If we are not able to do an outpost hike because we don't have adult supervision, the scouts doing wilderness survival could still complete the merit badge. They would simply have to build their shelters in their campsites. And the staff member would go around and check on that during the night and make sure that everybody's staying in the shelters, and they could get credit for it that way. Meets all the standards for the merit badge, just not as fun as being able to go out and do the outpost experience. All right, so those are the official announcements that we have for you. This would be a time for us to take any questions that you may have, um, whether it be through the chat or opening up to speak to us. We have a question um, about leader swaps. Yes, anybody. So on Sunday, everybody that checks in as a group with the troop. After that point, everybody that checks into the camp needs to stop by the camp office and check in. Same thing if you're just going into town to go get something from Stewart's and come back. Like you sign out of the camp office, you sign back in at the camp office. The camp office door is always open, and there's a sign in binder right there on the counter to do that. A leader swap, somebody's leaving, somebody else is coming in to take their place. They would just check in the office and we'd make sure that they're good to go. And yes, part of that question, any background checks from earlier in the season, if you were included in that, you're good to go still. You don't need a second background check for that. For provisional scouts headed to a common provisional campsite, we will provide some transportation to bring foot lockers out, but scouts should try to plan to bring what they can out to the campsite. You know, sort of a hybrid there. If it's foot locker trunk type stuff, we'll take that out, but they should try to take their backpacks out there. Troop campsites have been assigned. Ethan will the provisional sites have not yet been assigned in terms of where folks are staying for that. Quinn's going to post a link for the barbecue tickets. It's if you go to trcscouting.com/calendar, it'll be on the date for next Wednesday. You'll be able to see the barbecue link. With provisional campsites, by the way, those typically are not assigned until the scouts get to camp. We will make those assignments over the weekend and present them when they come to camp. We hold off to the last minute because we tend to get last minute provisional signups, and we want to make sure that scouts that are attending from the same troop are placed together. So we want to make sure that we have all the information of who's coming before we start sorting out who's going to which sites for provisional camping. That's in the best interest of the scouts to make sure that we can make sure that their buddy pairs are honored there. So we'll do that over the weekend, and they will have that when they check in on Sunday. If there are scouts that are attending provisionally but have a request to camp with a particular troop, we will obviously honor those requests as long as the host troop is willing to take them. Total number of scouts, it's growing, Jake. We've seen some more provisionals coming in, so I want to say the last time I looked, somewhere in the 115 range, 120 range, but I'm not sure where it is as of today, because provisional scouts, as I said, tend to grow over the course of the summer, signing up for this week in particular. We can take whatever payments or troop photos. If you are ready when I take the picture, if you have cash or a check, I will accept it right then and there. If you want to pay by credit card, you can see me up in the office later on. If you're looking to drop off health forms ahead of time to be screened by Josh, the medical officer, you can drop them off anytime in the office, and we will make sure that they get to him. But earlier in the week would be better to have him actually have time to look at them before coming in. If you wait till the end of the week, then he may not have time to look at them before you come in on Sunday, which defeats the purpose of bringing up early. Other questions? Any other questions that folks may have? The troop assignments have been made. They were made a while back. So if you go to the calendar link for the week, the TRC calendar page where you would register for that, and you have like the description of camp. There's like a link underneath that says something like campsite grid. If you click on that, it shows who's in the campsites. So Ryan, we'll make sure that those scouts are together with the adult leader. The adult leader signed up just on his own without any scouts attached to his registration, I take it. We'll look for that and merge those. Any other questions that folks may have? Each troop will have one vehicle pass to be able to use for one vehicle to take down to the site. And if you have more than one vehicle that needs to come down, if you've got two or three, for example, two or three trucks that have troop gear, it needs to be in a relay fashion. So one vehicle goes down with the vehicle pass, unloads, comes back up, hands off the pass to the next vehicle, and they go down and that back, so that we reduce the number of vehicles that are out on the roads. We are trying to, in addition to the issue of vehicles passing each other on the roads. We're trying to keep vehicles out of the campsites. We're trying to keep vehicles out of the fields. If we have cars passing each other where one has to drive off the road in order to go allow another one to pass, you're driving into fields. That's where we get big ruts turned up. Those of you that are familiar with the Hawker Field, that's right on that bend going from the Health Lodge up towards Tuscarora and Onondaga, it is torn up along the road and is constantly torn up because vehicles get off the road there to allow others to pass, and we get big ruts, which then can't be mowed because the mowers can't handle the big ruts, and it just creates a multitude of issues. So this is why we try to keep the vehicle usage down and ask you not to drive into the campsites and keep those big ruts from developing. We just had a bunch of rain the other day, and there's more rain in the forecast between now and Sunday. So that's where that happens. It's much less about whether or not your four-wheel drive vehicle can get out as much as it is what kind of a mess does it leave behind once it pulls out. For somebody that's swapping out a leader for the week, if you just registered one person for the full week in Blackbug and that person is going to become swapped out for a second one, that's fine. We just need to make sure that the second one is entered in our Google form so that the background check is done for that person. So the Google form is right on the front page of our camp website. You'll see a link for background check. Click that, make sure that that individual's name and date of birth are entered in there. The person who's in Blackbug will already have been pulled. That data has already been run for the background check. But any leaders that are swapping in that kind of a scenario, somebody says, "Oh, you know, John's covering the week, but Bill is covering one night for him because John has to go to a meeting." Make sure that Bill is registered in the Google form so we can do the background check for that person. But as far as the payment is concerned in Blackbug, one name covering the whole week is fine. Yep, no problem. Other questions? You're welcome. All right. Well, we are recording this meeting. This will be sent out as a link. We'll post this up to our YouTube page. It will send the link out to everybody so other people can check it out that weren't able to be here this evening. So please make sure that folks in the troop, we'll send them out up to all the email addresses that we have, but make sure folks in the troop know that it's available. And we can't wait to see the scouts and you out at camp next week. If you have any questions, let us know. I'm going to stop the recording, and if there's additional questions that people wanted to ask, maybe without the recording or whatnot, Quinn and I will stick around for a few more minutes until you've had a chance to ask those. So thanks a lot for joining us tonight, folks.